Alright. Okay, it is recording. Hello, everybody. This is the first official episode of what I'm calling the Narrator's Journal. I did a day 0 podcast, but that I'm just going to put at the end as a bonus one because it was just very first initial impressions, and it also was more of a snapshot than what we're going to be normally doing on this podcast. We're just going through everybody's game and putting them on a tier list, S through E. Now, for the most part, E is dead, as eliminated players, dead players. That's going to be where I park them in E, just so they're still on the map, because they were here, and we're going to always honor that. But that's just the T. So usually E is kind of like a fake tier. And S at the moment, right now, is just everybody that is currently safe in the game at this moment in time. So where are we at this moment in the game? We have just finished the first immunity challenge of the season. Congratulations to Lizzie, Chadwick, Missy, Belinda, Luis, Billy, Rayanne, Dom, and Paul, who all snagged that W and joined Lana in the S tier, as in cannot be eliminated, because as we know, Lana has been taken by the Hunger Games and is waiting for everyone on the other side of this format. Which has given her also a very unique position, which, footnote, I'm going to be doing footnotes in this just for, if you as a player are watching something back and you have a footnote, this is me saying, bring it up in your altar when you hear this, because it's something that I'm curious to see how it works out, because I'm filming these in real time. Looking back at the game, Lana, do you feel like moving into this next format had an impact on your game in any way, or if you would have preferred and are happy that it happened, or wish it didn't happen? Footnote that to Lana. Congrats, Lana, you have the first footnote. But let's get into it. So we are going to be going over all the other players of the game who could potentially be looking at elimination. We're also going to be looking at their overall health in the game per se, and get crack-a-lackin'. So now I don't really have a ton of day one. You know, it's still day one, so I also want to preface with that there is a lot of wiggle room in the sense of all these bonds are very fresh, and nothing solidified until at least the first vote. You know, the first vote will be the context of the game a little bit. But that being said, let's go ahead and start with who we have up first, which is Quentin. Quentin, I don't think is honestly in a good spot right now. I think I adore Quentin, I love Quentin, but I do think Quentin sometimes is kind of able to just show up and get by at the beginning until he kind of is able to charm the people into wanting to work with him, etc. But I don't know if he's going to have the time to be able to do that in this game. And there has been a decent amount of, not great conversation about Quentin. So while I don't know if he's necessarily going to be first boot, I don't think his health is very good in the game. So right now I'm going to put him at a D. And when we will come back to you, Quentin, potentially, because we'll see how everyone else shakes up. Now, Ruben, unfortunately, had a kerfuffle, and there was a issue in his tribe chat. It was accidental. I genuinely do believe that, but it still is what it is, and I think that I think it may negatively impact him. And then people haven't talked the greatest about Ruben. Ruben has a nice kind of like acquired charm to him, but I think, like almost like Quentin, where these are characters that rely on charisma, which, hey, same. It doesn't work as well right now. I think too many people have their heads in the game, which could be why but also, like I said, they just need their time to let the roots grow. But Ruben, I think right now genuinely could be eliminated tomorrow. So Ruben, footnote, did you go home? And why or why not? Next we have Destiny, who, funny enough, she was talking to her altar all about like, oh, what are the idols gonna look like? I don't understand. And I said, trust me, if you see one, you're gonna know. And then she ends up going for the puzzle, which, yes, it was true. People who went for the puzzles had the opportunity to get an idol, but there was only 2. So it says there's only 2 idols. Warning. So Dom shows up first, does not take it, and ultimately ends up winning it for his tribe. Destiny shows up, does take the idol though, dooming her tribe. And then Nicole shows up, thinking Dom and Destiny both took it, and goes for the puzzle instead. So only one idol was grabbed by Destiny. Now Destiny, I think, is not necessarily in a great spot in her tribe. I think Destiny needs to get her footing, because in a lot of ways it is a question of Destiny is a personality, a big personality, and I love that about her, and that's why I'm excited to have her in the game. But there also is the question of sometimes it either just goes or it doesn't. But she has an idol, so it doesn't matter if it goes or if she doesn't. She just needs to be perceptive. And do I think she's perceptive? Yes. But is her overall health in the game great? I wouldn't say. We can tell at this moment, so I'm putting her in C. Now, Nicole, I think, has an opportunity here to do well. She was forward about the idol, which is great because there's conniving about that on another tribe. On the safe tribe, actually. Dominic has told Luis and Belinda about the puzzles because Nicole, Destiny, Dom went for the puzzles. And they think this is real high, tight-lipped information, but Nicole has told her entire group. And obviously Destiny hasn't told anybody, why would she? So I think Nicole might be able to get in front of that, which is good for her. And I think she's... Mitchell wants to play with Nicole. And we'll talk about Mitchell more when we get to him, but I think Mitchell's going to get a lot of what he wants on this tribe, and if he wants to play with Nicole, that's good for Nicole. And Nicole just needs to get her footing. But unlike Quentin and Ruben, Nicole doesn't rely on her charisma, she relies on her intelligence, and there's a lot of desire to play with perceived intelligent players this game. I think everybody wants to win this game, which is very exciting. So everybody wants to play with people that they think can, do it, which makes sense. You want to get to the end, you're gonna have to get to the end with the best, because only the best are getting to the end. So it's smart to align with people who you think are gonna do well, because that just makes sense. It makes your game easier, and that is how I play. It is literally how I play. Now let's talk about Henry. Henry I'm always off and on about, because Henry's a lot in the same category of Destiny, where he's a personality and you either want to play with him or you don't. But I think Henry has gotten himself into a pretty good spot. I want to put him at B, and I'm going to. He deserves it based off of what he's doing, but I'm just nervous for Henry. I'm nervous for Henry, but right now, He's doing good out of the gate. Good to Henry. And now Shane is also doing very good out of the gate over on his tribe. He's with, Henry. He's got this alliance going called the Donkey Kong Island Resort and Spa with, some of the other people on their tribe. Who else is on this tribe? Or on this alliance? It's Melissa, Henry, Max, Shane. So, this is like a nice, good chat that I could see being important right now. But Destiny's caught on to Shane, and Destiny has an idol, which means it's kind of the opposite. Whereas Destiny is probably really good right now, she is struggling in the what would be the perceived future. And Shane's the opposite, where I feel like he is good for the future, but is danger in the now, because Destiny's catching on, and if she's gonna make a move, it's probably on Shane. So yeah, I'm gonna put them right next to each other. That seems right about right. Now Mitchell, something about Mitchell gets what he wants. I don't know. It is impressive. is impressive, but Mitchell doesn't always necessarily want what is the best thing. I think that was what his downfall was in Murder Dinner Party 3. But I'll be honest, right now that core alliance between him, Shanika, and William, it seems promising. It is. It seems like, at least on these initial tribes, that could be where the real decisions are made. Or at least decisions will be made, and these people will try to do what they're going to try to do. And we have to see if it works, obviously. This is still pre-vote. But just chats where you can kind of see, like, there seems to be something here. And unless Mitchell gets ousted by something, which is possible, I do feel good about him. He's the first person I'm going to put in the A category. Good job. Now, Melissa, I also feel is in a pretty good spot. I think Melissa is leveraging her information about what she knows pretty well. I think she made an alliance, though, which is why you gotta be careful. You never know when you make an alliance if these people are saying yes because you were asked or if they were loyal. But the conversation seems pretty good. I also don't necessarily see her going first at all. But I can't say with full confidence. Should her tribe go to tribal a lot? How that could go for her. So I'm going to put her up in B. Melissa, I think you're doing very good out of the gate, just like Henry. Shanika is right now definitely benefiting from the fact that she has played a lot on the page. Because, I honestly, when we did the cast assessment and we broke down the tribes, we really did try to monitor, pre-existing connections as much as we possibly could. And there's a lot of connections. Y'all know this. You guys have now at this point played the game. We sat down and really tried to talk about as much as we possibly knew and separated as best as we possibly could. While yes, we weighed in on the fact that, what games had these people play together on this page, we also tried to weigh in on, just overall knowledge of connections. Which is why the tribe shook out how they did. That being said, Shanika just played a lot on the page, and ultimately, this is helping her right now because she played our Dinner Party 3, she played the Hunger Games mini, and both of those are things that she's been able to really lean on. Also, let's not at all discredit the fact that she's just very charming, she's smart, she's very likable, and she's close with Mitchell, and I think both of these players are doing good, and I feel good about their longevity in the game because they've both proven pretty formidable in Hunger Games. So it's easier for me to lean on them in the A, thinking long term, because I am trying to think about overall things. Now, not too much though, so don't get it twisted. Shanika's doing great. Now, Jennifer is probably going home, so I'm gonna put her bottom of D tier right now. She has everything working against her on her tribe. I mean, we told her in the beginning video, Jennifer, we want to see you take a, don't always, try to play for the long game, which was supposed to be interpreted more so as, play more quickly, play now, okay, make the move now. Don't wait 3 rounds. Let's make the move. And somehow Jennifer has taken that into her confessional and has taken it as a passive game, and I do want to say now to Jennifer, I think that is the right move. Because right now, unfortunately, Jennifer, what is against you is that historically, you do not end games, on a good note with some people sometimes. I think sometimes you are just angry when you get voted out, which is natural. We care about the games. Granted, it has been a long time since you've played a game at this point, and people should be giving you the fair shake. Because we've all been there. When you are absolutely spritzed out and you're at your wit's end, and that's when you take your break. And Jennifer's coming back from a break. A lot of people are coming back from a break from this game. But Jennifer, I don't know if you will be afforded that break the same way everyone else is. That is it. I would be shocked, to be honest, right now if Jennifer survives. But we'll see. We will see. Jennifer could shock me. So, footnote, Jennifer, did you shock me? Now, Tammy is someone that is on the precipice of being in a very good or very bad spot. And it's hard for me to tell because a lot of people haven't really given their opinion on Tammy yet. Which is good. I don't think she's going to go home first. But I don't know what that means for her in the long game. Oh, shit. I don't think that is good for her long game, so I am going to put her in C tier. She's got options. She's just... And I think Tammy will do real good in Hunger Games. It can go from there, but... Which is, Tammy, I just need you to get through Survivor, Tammy. I just need you to get through Survivor. Because Tammy can do... Tammy has experience in the formats past Survivor. And that's what I'm buying. I'm rooting for Tammy. Spoiler alert to everybody watching this. Tammy was our prod winner pick. She was my winner pick. I will tell the others in the later podcast, but ultimately, and the reason why is just real quick is that in the original Murder Dinner Party, the crook kills the queen, and so I'm going back to the OG roots and saying the OG crook will once again kill the queen. And Tammy's had a good showing in a lot of games. But Tammy, right now, the jury is out on you, my friend. Next up is Raquel, Raquel is not really, but I'm not seeing a lot of conversation about Raquel. I think she's kind of in the same spot. There was the only conversation really that I've heard about her, even in Ultras, was bad though. It was about targeting her. So I don't know. Raquel, though, can definitely make the money moves, and she is not to ever be counted out. No one in this C tier is to be counted out. I want to make that really clear as we continue to go through this. It's y'all are forces, and the thing is that y'all need your engines to get online. So we'll see. Next is Allie. Allie is, I think, going to be fine for a while. Allie's going to go as far as Allie is able to keep up her efforts. Because there's been a lot of conversation about Allie not being around a lot in some of her more recent games. So people are curious, are we going to get Allie like the legend that we know? Or are we going to get Allie who's not really playing? No, I think we're going to get Allie who's really trying though. And I think Allie, while not in any alliances, Allie is good about working that magic on that one-on-one, and people have not had anything bad to say about Allie. So next is Sarah. There's not been, I haven't really seen a ton of conversation about Sarah. Tammy like Sarah. Allie, seems to have talked good about Sarah. But Sarah has to deal with this unfortunate issue. And so does Lizzie, where everyone's viewing these two as a duolingo, boop, boop, boop. And neither one of them wanted to be paired together. Which, footnote, you guys, we gotta stop doing that, and I get why we do it, but I do feel like in a game as prestige as this one, would only be fair to give everyone like all right, we're showing up to this game. And I do, and I will say I genuinely for the most part do. I feel like there is just one or two snags, so it's funnily enough not happening. And I think that's with Jennifer's ability to have a fresh slate, and Sarah and Lizzie getting paired together. And Nicole is having to deal with a lot of just fear of her. But I still have Nicole in B tier because, Nicole, I think's gotten ahead of the train she doesn't even know is coming, which is good for her. That's good gameplay. But anyways, back to Sarah. Sarah, I just don't have a good read on your game yet, so I can't really say much. I'm just going to put you in C, and we will see. It's kind of that. Stephanie, you know what? I'll be damned. I wasn't sure necessarily because, Stephanie is a popular orger. And anytime you're popular, that can be good or bad. But people really seem to be talking good about Stephanie and talking to Stephanie. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward for me. Stephanie, I'm putting in the A tier right now. I think she's set up to go far. I think Stephanie's gonna. Well, let's see how this tier list looks when we get to Hunger Games, because I have to see how she gets going on that. But right now, Stephanie, you're doing great, and you should be happy. Now, William, I want to say is doing great, but I feel like William's fate is to, like, of these, like, you know, because he's in that great alliance that, great, air quotes, cut to me and, you know, next video, this alliance collapsed in on itself, and, you know, someone in A tier went home. But yeah, when I'm telling you I'm watching everything, I'm watching everything. I'm reading every message. I'm listening to every voice note. I'm watching every video. I'm watching everything. So I am consuming it all. Allie's already talked about wanting to vote out William, which is hilarious, and that is exactly why William just has this bad luck, bad juju. And if Jennifer is gonna burn anyone or scale anyone on her way out, it's gonna be William, which could hurt him. So I'm gonna just put him in B tier, because I think he's the most likely of these three to go home should something go awry. And that's just it. Now, Lydia has honestly impressed me a lot. A lot of people have talked very good about Lydia, and I don't even think she knows it. And when I say a lot of people, I'm talking about the people obviously on her tribe, but also Lana. Lana has talked very good about Lydia, and Lydia has also talked very good about Lana, which Lana is doing exactly what she needs to. A couple people throughout the cast have talked about liking Lana, which is great. Lana's, you know, I don't think she's overplaying her hand, but she is, like, you know, hoping that her people can make it through Survivor. But Lydia's doing great, and I'm putting Lydia in A tier. I really am. Now, last is Max. Max is not necessarily being social right now. His day 0, day 1 performance is not good, and it's not what we wanted to see, but he can recover. But because he's in that important chat. People like Max. Max needs to get out of his own way. He's going in C. So this is pretty much my tier list of my 22 minutes. You know, I thought this was going to go longer, but it is only day 1. And there's not a ton to talk about. Also, it's before the vote. So I might make this a part 1, part 2. Yeah, I will actually. I'm determining that right now as I say it. So this is the finish of part 1. And then I will upload part 2 after Tribal, and then we will go from there. Because, let's be real, the real gameplay is after Tribal, and that's what we want to talk about. Reset the tier lists, because it's a little bit easier to just go from people to people and do that. So first, we're going to move Lana, and we're going to move William to S tier because they are safe, and I just kind of want to get them out of the way. Let's talk about their games really quick. Both of them are being social. Lana knew the results of both tribal councils before they happened. I think she's gaining information, and she's being, from what I can tell, she's being smart about how she's giving it out. So props to her. William, I think, actually really is. I don't think he necessarily needed the safety, but he's definitely going to be able to do a lot with his ability to talk to everybody. So I think both of them are doing very good. And they're both definitely not going home, so they get to be S tier. Now let's start with Rayanne. So Rayanne, she's on a tribe with Nicole. That is great for her. Missy, Destiny. I don't know how Destiny and Rayanne's relationship is, but I will say a lot of people have talked very good about Rayanne and have just continued to state that they like Rayanne, that they don't want to target Rayanne, which is about as good as it gets. I do think Rayanne could use an alliance at this point, so I am going to put her in B tier, but she's doing very good right now. Quentin, I think, is in a much better spot post-swap. I think he was probably next to go on his tribe if there was not a swap. He seems to be bonding better, which is very good. Quentin, you can tell, is used to not ever potentially being in danger at the beginning of a game, so he's slow. which almost cost him. But I think he's getting better. So while I don't think he's, B or A, I do think he belongs promptly in C. Chadwick needs to do a little bit more. I think Chadwick thinks he's safer than he is. Because a lot of people are talking about how they never talk to Chadwick and how they're okay with Chadwick going. Granted, of course, it's tribes of 12. His tribe, he's got Quentin, which I know he's super close with, but the issue is that Quentin doesn't have a lot of people. So kind of by proxy that hurts him a little bit. And like I said, not a lot of people are really talking about Chadwick. So right now I'm going to put him in C tier. I don't know if he's necessarily next to go. Like I said, with tribe swaps, it's hard to tell who's going to go, especially since there's not been the next community challenge yet. But I don't think he's in a great spot. Now, obviously, Ruben is out and Jennifer is out. So we'll put them in E tier, like we said. Next, Lizzie. Lizzie, I think, is social. I think people are talking good about her. I think she's continually barred down by the fact that she has pre-existing relationships that people presume she's going to want to work with. Like Billy, but she doesn't really have any much of an interest to work with Billy. She does want to work with Destiny, though. And Destiny is potentially like one side of the other side on the Slade tribe, where there's going to be maybe this like Destiny, Lizzie potential type of side. And then there's going to be the other side where it's like, I could see kind of being, Tammy, Shanika, etc., etc. Which we'll see. But I don't see Lizzie going home. I think people are talking good about Lizzie. I think even if people don't want to work with Destiny, that doesn't mean they don't want to work with Lizzie. So I'm going to continue to put Lizzie in A tier. I think she's doing very good for herself. Destiny's got a motherfucking idol, okay? And Destiny, I think, has enough people in this tribe that she could potentially work with. Also, she brought up a very good point. What's the point of going after someone with an idol right now when this format's going to end? And that makes complete sense. And I think a lot of people will think about that and just will deal with it. And they'll just say, let's kill her in Hunger Games. So I'm moving Destiny up to B tier for now. Nicole is someone I also think is doing better than... I definitely don't think Nicole is ever going to go, next on her tribe, but I think this tribe also gives her a lot of room. I do think she's got a little bit of she is definitely told a lot of people about that station. She told her whole tribe, which creates a conflict with Destiny, because Destiny obviously was there as well. I think there could be potential head clashing, but Nicole's got Rayanne on this tribe. She has freaking Missy. And Tammy, which I think Nicole and Tammy have been getting along decently. I'm not really sure where Nicole stands right now, and she doesn't have an idol. So I'm going to put Nicole at C at the moment. Henry has to hope and pray that alliance that he has with Melissa is strong, because Chadwick talked not great about Henry, which, Chadwick's not playing an amazing game himself, but Henry's an easy vote. He doesn't really bond in a normal way. He's kind of like Ruben, where it's like you like the humor or you don't. That's kind of it. I could see Henry's name floating, but I think he has the benefit of... honestly, I think a lot of people are playing to just expect Henry to die in Hunger Games. And I think that can help him. But it's not necessarily a great game. So I'm going to put him at C. Shane is somebody everyone's like, oh, I like Shane, but that's usually where it catches up with him. But he's going to talk himself out of the game, but he overplays, but he etc., etc. He also got moved from his important alliance, but I think that might have actually been a blessing in disguise, because I think he now has the opportunity to kind of bloom on this other tribe. However, he's kind of in the same situation with Nicole, where I think Shane and Nicole are both in Destiny sites, and she has an idol. So, while Destiny might not do it this round, if you know there's only one tribal council left, why not play her idol? And I think that's where that could be bad for Shane. I also think Shane's reactionary. I do think he's doing better. He's showing improvement. But Shane's not necessarily someone I see in the power narrative on this tribe. Not yet, anyways. Right now, he's going in C as well. Mitchell is like convinced he's in a bad spot on this tribe, but I really don't like. I really don't know about that. Like, he's definitely not as in a good spot as he was on these other tribe, but I still don't necessarily see who's gonna gun for Mitchell. Like, yeah, Destiny potentially could, but that's it. You know, Destiny only can take out one or two people, in theory. But he's being social, he's being smart, he has for the most part pretty good reads on the game. I don't see why Mitchell's not going to make it to Hunger Games. Kind of same situation with Melissa. I think Melissa. So here's the thing: Luis and Melissa are like definitely the center of the narrative right now on the Lance tribe. It feels like, because, which is honestly confusing, because when I was going to work today, Luis was talking about how there was a potential for him to work with Melissa and that he believes her, but then apparently, from what I've seen, he's been talking about her and about the issues and the beef. But honestly, I do genuinely feel like if Luis and Melissa had this boom boom, like head to head, one of us got to go at tribal council, I think Melissa's gonna win it, because Melissa has Henry, she has Max, she has Sarah, she can play up the girl stuff with Allie and Stephanie. Like, I don't know if Luis wants to do this. I'm gonna put Melissa in B2. Dominic, I think Dominic's actually in a great spot. Everybody knows he didn't go for the idol. He won it for his tribe. It's a good look. No one's really talking bad about him. I have a hard time seeing Dominic not getting the Hunger Games, to be honest. I really think that he's fine. So I'm going to put him in B tier. I don't think he's doing anything necessarily exceptional, but I think he's definitely doing pretty darn good for himself. And it was honestly very smart for him to not go for the idol. Smart move, Dominic. Next, Shanika. I think Shanika's still playing a great game. I still think Shanika is in every conversation that she needs to be in. I think she's not in the talks of, oh, who's making the power moves. But Shanika's always in the motherfucking room. And honestly, I think that's exactly where she needs to be. Shanika, I still think, is playing very solidly. Very, very good. Tammy, I think Tammy's in a much better spot on this tribe. I think a lot of people are talking about how they like Tammy and how they don't want to take her out and how they want to see her in other formats, which is exactly what you want to hear. I think she's doing good about bonding. I think she's also doing... I also just don't necessarily see people being like, let's take out Tammy on this tribe either. I think Tammy's doing very good. I think she is probably going to make it to Hunger Games at this point, which I wouldn't have said, before the tribe swap. But I feel like right now she's in a very good spot. I think she's doing what she needs to. People are liking her. Belinda is finding her footing, which is very exciting. And as Belinda continues to find her footing and build confidence, she's going to storm this. She, of course, bear in mind, I do worry for her in some of the other formats. But, you'd have to be one cold bitch to kill Belinda in Hunger Games, right? That's what I'm thinking. And I definitely think Belinda's going to get to Hunger Games. There's almost no doubt in my mind. I'm putting Belinda in A tier. Missy, though, is someone who could go home soon. She's busy. She is not as social as she needed to have been before she got busy, and she's about to be meeting some players in real life. And if I have a choice between having to vote out the girl with the idol or voting out the other girl who don't have an idol, I'm voting Missy. And I think that is dangerous for her. And I could see Missy going home, to be honest, if Slade Tribe loses. Depends if someone gets the idea of throwing it even out there, but... it's not a good look. Raquel, I think, is in a better spot than Luis. I had them at the same spot on day one, but I think as they've gotten to these new tribes, and I'm not saying that Luis is in a bad spot. I do think Luis is in a good spot on his tribe. The question is with Luis is he going to force this, I want to take out Melissa? And as long as he doesn't do that, Luis is fine, I think, to be honest. But, it's Luis. And we tried to warn Luis, but you can even see it in his confessionals sometimes. He'll be talking, and it's like, good read. Oh no, paranoia takes creeping in, and then it's honestly, it's great to watch. It's such a unique experience, and I enjoy it, and I'm so happy Luis is playing. But we're talking about Raquel right now. I think Raquel's being social. I think she's being under the radar. I think she's doing exactly what she needs to do. I don't know if she's necessarily in power conversations or is going to have big power plays on this tribe, which is why I'm going to put her in C tier, but I also don't see her going home, to be honest. Next is Allie. I think Allie is also in a better spot on her tribe, but I don't have necessarily a very good read about Allie's game right now because she hasn't really told us a ton, and not a lot of people have talked about her. So she's a little invisible right now. But, I mean, I think that's where you want to be. I mean, right, obviously there's going to be a lot that's going to happen after this immunity challenge if the Lance tribe loses, and we'll see how that shakes out. So I don't feel confident putting Allie anywhere but C because I'm just not sure. We will have to see. All right. Next is Sarah. So here's the thing. Sarah's also not really talking a whole lot, and no one's talking. It's like she's in this similar boat with Allie, but Sarah is someone that everyone is aware of their connections. Of her connections, and I think that's bad for her. And I'll be honest, I have a hard time when I'm looking at the tribe of people that Sarah is on. Like, yeah, she's got Dom, and everybody knows that. And then she's got that little bit of Hamilton thing going for her, which is herself, Chadwick, Dom, Melissa. But that's not enough people. And I don't know if necessarily if the Hamilton bond is going to be enough for people to want to fight to keep her. And I already don't necessarily believe that Chadwick's in a great spot. And Melissa's not necessarily... I mean, she could, but I just don't see her going out of the way. I think Sarah needs to step it up. Straight up. Like, Sarah, you need to level up. Or you need to tell me more of what you're doing right now. Because, girl... Footnote, what were you doing today and yesterday? Footnote for Sarah. Let me know. Stephanie's traveling right now, and I think that's going to hurt her, but I honestly think of the three people who are about to meet between Stephanie, Destiny, and Missy, Stephanie's the person who's more than likely going to survive it all. And I'll be honest, again, I have a hard time seeing a push for Stephanie happening on this tribe. I think if Stephanie was on the other tribe, there would have been more rooms for conversation. But people seem to like Stephanie. Like, that's it. Now, there hasn't been a ton of chatter about her since this new tribe swap. But people like Stephanie. She's smart. She's strategic. And that's what you want in an ally. I'm putting Stephanie up in B tier just because I feel she's playing a very strong game. I think Paul's also playing a stronger game than I would have thought he was out of the gate. He is being social. He's talking to people. I don't necessarily know how deep these bonds are, but I think Paul's doing plenty fine for himself. And plenty fine for himself gets him into C. Also, you know what? Let's do this real quick. Let's organize our tiers. I do think Shanika's playing the best game in the game, probably. Right now, at this moment in time. And then Lizzie, Belinda, they're kind of equal. B tier, I do think Rayanne's towards the front. I think Mitchell's towards the front. I think Stephanie, Tammy, like these people. No, I'm gonna put Tammy actually. Mitchell has some issues. Like these three right here. The reason these three are in the front of the others in B tier is they don't have any negative connections that could be hurting them right now. Whereas these four over here all do. And these four are kind of all jumbled up together. It doesn't really make much of a difference. I would say maybe best case scenarios, swap these two. C tier is really hard. I do think Nicole's towards the front of the pack here. I think Shane's towards the front of the pack. Raquel, Paul, Allie. It's kind of, those boys towards the back. Lydia needs to level up her social game. People like Lydia a lot, but Lydia is not being social enough, and I think people are about ready to be done trying to protect her. So I could see Lydia being in danger if a vote starts to push for her and she doesn't do what she needs to. So I'm putting Lydia in D tier right now. Sorry, Lydia. I know it's pretty far from grace. A far fall from grace. And it's not necessarily that I could see a huge push for Lydia happening, but I think Lydia needs to be more proactive. Luis, we've already talked about Luis a lot in other people's sections, but let's talk about him here a little bit. Luis, I think, is bonding really good with William. That's huge. I think he's really excited for Hunger Games, which is huge. He's got that tie to Raquel, which is bad, but really not a lot of people have talked about it, at least not in their altars, at least not in alliance chats. But people have talked a lot about him versus Melissa. And as I said, I think he loses that probably. I could be wrong. Let's see. But Because of that, I'm going to put him literally right below Melissa. Like, I feel like he's playing a good game. And also, I don't like having this many people in C tier. So sorry, Henry, I'm demoting you. Sorry. Like, we can't all be C tier. Someone's got to be at the bottom. So sorry, Henry. Billy, Billy's really not talked out. I think Billy's kind of right in the same spot as Sarah, except he has a lot worse. Also, yeah, let's fix this up. I think Missy's honestly worse. And Billy. Billy's too much sometimes. Like, I love Billy, but sometimes he's a lot to play a game with. And anybody who's played a game with Billy knows. And I do think Billy is not necessarily being as social as he needs to. And Max is Max. I see Max getting the Hunger Games. I just don't see anybody wasting their time trying to take him out right now. So I'm going to put him right there. That's pretty much my list. I feel pretty good about this. Like I said, I refreshed it. Shit. Well, I guess that's the list. All right, y'all. Nothing to talk about because I can't see it anymore. Unless I can go back. Nope. All right, that's it. Good luck. We got the immunity challenge later. So we'll see. And I will see you guys in episode 2, which will probably take place after the elimination. So I'll see you guys in a couple days. Bye.